We're back with another Dollar Tree pumpkin tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know I did another video on the Dollar Tree pumpkin frame a few weeks ago. I will have that linked in the description box below if you missed that one. But this is a different method and a different style and something you can do, and it's really easy to do. I hope you like it. If you can't find these Dollar Tree pumpkin frames, I'm going to tell you about where else you can get something that will work just as well. So let's get started. So let's talk about what we're going to use. This is a Dollar Tree pumpkin form is what I'm going to use today. And you can get these at Dollar Tree. I know sometimes people are like, I can't find them. You can order them online, but you do have to order a case of them. So you have to order like 24 of them at a time. And not everybody wants to do that. So let me tell you about another option. If you go to Hobby Lobby right now, in their fall decor, they have their own version of the pumpkin wreath frame. Now, as you can see, it's a little smaller, you know, if you put this over top, see, it's just a little smaller than the Dollar Tree, okay? But here's the nice thing. These wires are very sturdy, okay? So if you're looking for something as an alternative, go check out Hobby Lobby. They're $5.99, but they're usually they're 40% off right now. And by the time you watch this video, they could be 50% off. But this is just another option for you to do something with. So just keep that in mind. Check out Hobby Lobby. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to do a pull-through method, and I want to do something kind of similar to what I did, a couple years ago. I will link that description in the description box of that video link. Not that I won't link the description. I will link the video in the description box below. It was one of my first tutorials here on YouTube, and I show you how to take 2 round wreaths and make a pull-through pumpkin wreath, and it was really cute. But I'm going to use my own version of, we're going to do like a grid on our pumpkin wreath, and so you can use either wire. I'm going to use this gold wire because it's just easy, and that's what I have. I think this was like a Christmas clearance find from Michael's, or you could even just use some pipe cleaners. It's really up to you what you want to use, but I'm going to use this. So what I want to do is I want to start at where the first connection of the cross bracket here and the base of the frame is, and I want to start a spot, okay? So which means I'm just going to kind of wrap it around both sides here, okay? All right. So that's going to get us started, okay? We want to pull it, make sure nothing's going to go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little zip tie, and I'm not going to use a lot of these, but I want to take a little zip tie, and I'm going to go up here. All right. I'm going to pull it pretty tight there. And then I'm going to go to this side, okay? And I'm going to go underneath, and I got the wire because it's just a little bit easier. And all I want to do is I'm going to go over, and we're just going to go under and over, and we're going to make like these little triangle slots. Now this doesn't have to be like super uniformed. It just needs to be what do I want to say, enough space to have one loop come through it. So I'm just going to keep pulling here, and the wire kind of gets a little bendy here, but that's all right. Bendy is not a word, but you know, it's what I like to say. All right, so I'm just going to kind of hold, and then I hold it to the next one, and I keep going. So all I want you to do is make a grid, because in each of these little holes, we're going to pull up the burlap, okay? All right, so I'm going to wrap it around there. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, at least 12. This one is a little iffy. So I can put 12 loops there, okay? So I'm going to go over here. Let's see. I think I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to wrap it around. And then I'm going to go through the holes again. And this doesn't have to look pretty. That's not the point here. The point is we just want to create a grid of some sort. And you could do this with pipe cleaners. You could do this with, oh, I guess you could even do this with zip ties if you wanted to. But, so I'm just going to keep going through here. And I'm just going to keep making a grid. Because once we get this grid, we can start on the burlap. And you want to make sure you leave them wide enough that you can bring your wire through too. You might have to cut your wire if the thing is too big. You might have to cut your wire, and that's all right. And then just attach it to where the frame is. Okay. So that's 2 spots already done. So I'm going to go under here and then wrap it around to this side. Okay. So I will finish this and I will come back, and all I'm going to do, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I don't know, can you see all the grid that I'm doing here? It's a little hard to see with this backdrop I'm using today. I just figured you guys are probably getting tired of the gray with the little white square in the middle. So I'm going to just keep doing this and I'll be right back. Okay, so here you can see I have the wires all across. I didn't have to cut any of the wires. I just kind of went through the different triangles and that just seemed to help. I ended up right here. So this doesn't have to look pretty, okay? This just needs to be functional. That's all it needs to be. And if you have a suggestion on a better way to put a grid, let me know in the comments below, because I always love your tips and your suggestions. We can all learn from each other. Nobody has all the answers, and I surely know that I don't. So this is just my take, and this is what I'm doing. So if you've got a suggestion, leave it in the comments below, because I like to hear them. All right, so I'm going to use this 6-inch roll of orange burlap. This is regular burlap. This is not a poly burlap. And I purchased this from the Wreath shop, and this has 10 yards in it. So I'm going to see how far it will go for this one wreath. So I'm going to just take a little bit here, and we're just going to gather it at the end here. So if you hear my herd of elephants, they're upstairs. Those are my children. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach it to this inside bar here to get us started. And you can start on the top of this wreath or the bottom. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so that gets us started. And so what I want to do is I want to pull through one loop. Now, this is me being lazy. I don't want to make a bunch of loops and have to zip tie each and every loop. That's why I put the grid here. I spent the time to do this because I felt like this would be the easiest way for me to make this wreath. So I'm going to pull up a loop. Make sure I get both sides here. All right. And you want to try to keep your loops pretty the same. You want a uniform look. So I'm just going to pull it up that much. Let's see, that's probably about that big of a loop. So about a 3-inch width there. And so I'm not going to attach it with a zip tie. I'm going to come through the next section and pull up a loop. Okay, I don't want that extra added step. I want to keep this simple. So see, I just want to make it about the same. You're going to measure it. And so I'm going to just pull it up through the next loop. So the next section, not the next loop. And so what I want to do is I want to have like a row here and a row down. We're not going to go this way. I mean, you probably could, but this is the way I'm going to do it. When you make something, make it your own, add some creativity to it, and take pride in that. I think that crafting is something, I think it's a good therapy for people. I think it's good when times are tough and you're struggling, sit down and make something. Make something for somebody else, and it will just do your heart some good. So as you can see, I'm just going through each one of these little sections. I need to pull this one up a little bit more. I'm just going through each of these little sections. That's it. There's nothing hard about this. This is probably the hardest part of the wreath. But again, this doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to make a grid. You're just making these openings, and that's all you're wanting to do. So again, I keep having to pull these a little bit because I'm talking to you guys. So I need to be a little bit more uniformed about it. And again, if you want to use pipe cleaners to do this all, you could do that too. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to transition to over there. All right, so over here I have like 2 little sections here. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to pull one. I think we only need one more good loop here. And be careful, because like that's the end of my wire, and that will snag your burlap, and you don't want that. So let's go through here, make sure we don't need to pull some more up. I think I need to pull some more here. Let's pull. And you're just going to go through here and just make sure everything is pretty uniformed, as good as you can get it. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to the next section of our part here. So I have one space here and one space here, so I'm just going to bring it through. Oh, gotta pull it over here. Okay, I'm going to pull it up. All right. And I want that loop to look nice. All right. So now I'm going to pull it there. I could put one right here, but I don't think I need to. You're just going to kind of play this by ear, and then you're just going to pull it up. All right. Okay. All right. And when you're done with this, we're going to kind of, you're going to fluff things up. That's just going to happen. So I have one here, so we're going to just bring it up here. Okay. Got too big of a loop there, so I'm going to pull it down. Go to the next one. And like I said, I'm not going to add any zip ties unless I feel like I need it to hold something in place. Like if like for instance, that's a little big, so I might need to add an extra one. So let's just get down to that part. And then I'll probably finish it and then come back, so you don't have to watch all of this. I know that it can be a little long. So let's just keep going here and see what it looks like when we get to that part. All right, I think we're gonna be okay. So I'm gonna just keep going here until I get to the end of the wreath. So I'll go down here, go up, down, and then we'll finish on the upside over here. So I'm gonna get through all of this, then I'll know how much burlap I've used, and we can do the rest of this wreath. Okay, so that was not hard to do, but let me tell you what happened. I got one roll done of 10 yards, and I put on the second roll, and it was not the same color orange. So I had to start all the way over, and honestly, to put it together does not take that much time. It does really remind me of the flatter version of my pumpkin tutorial that is linked in the description box. But I like the shape of it. So let's look at this part where the stem is. Now, I'm going to turn it over here. And what I want you to do is I want you to take some zip ties and you're going to kind of just like push down some of the burlap, because I want to make sure that you get that, you know how a heart goes this way? I want to make sure that that happens with this pumpkin, that it retains its pumpkin shape. It doesn't look like it's just a round ball. I want to try to avoid the ball shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get the zip tie through, if it will cooperate here. Come on, there we go. And actually I'm going to put it through twice. It's nice and long. And then that is just going to push down that burlap there. It's not going to, it's not going to peek up as much. So let's talk about the stem. I feel like if I could change anything about the frame, I wish they would make their stem bigger, but that's okay. But by the time you add mesh or something, it just needs a little bit more something else. So what I'm going to use is this ribbon, and I used this in my original video, and it kind of started, a lot of people do this for their pumpkins now. I use this to make a stem for my pumpkins, and this can be found at Hobby Lobby, and it is in the ribbon. It's a chicken wire, and it's covered with this green stuff. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of start this on here, and I want to cover it a couple times because I want to kind of cover up this wire here. So let's just like bend that back to kind of help cover that up. And you're just going to keep going around it, okay? So let me push this down, make sure any sharp edges aren't going to be seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it here. I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to run it through. And you probably could have done this all in one step instead of doing it like me. So, you know, do better than I did, okay? All right, so let's just put it through here. And then this way it will attach this to the frame itself, so it's not going to go anywhere. So we're going to just pull that down. You're not going to be able to see it. And now we're going to take the shape of our stem. And you could go straight up if you wanted to. You could curve it if you'd like. I like mine curved just a tad. So I'm just going to keep going over it. It's making a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. I like this because you can really mold it and make it look the way you want it. All right, I think that's going to be enough, so I'm going to cut it here. And all my tools come from Amazon, so you can check the link for my Amazon shop in the description box below. So I'm just going to fold this down and we're just going to mold it, okay? Of course, this is way too long, so I'm going to kind of bend it over here. All right. That's why I like this stuff, because you can just really, you want to make sure that any sharp wires are bent into it. You're just going to kind of feel around. All right. So I'm just going to bend it just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Okay, so we have our table kind of cleaned up. So as you can see, we have a little bit of a stem, and you could even work this down, you know, push some of that mesh down into your pumpkin if you'd like, but I'm going to make just a really cute, simple bow. And I just think that the, what do you call it? Buffalo check. Why can't I think of anything today? Would make a good little bow. And I'm just going to make it, I'm not even going to add a little, you know, the things that come down. The little bow's tails, you know, I couldn't think of anything. Okay, so we're just going to go like this. All right, it doesn't have to be that big. You're just going to kind of guesstimate. Let's see. You don't have my measure cutter board thing underneath here. I know I am just a hot mess today with my words. So that's going to be the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gather it like so, and I'm going to flip it over. All right. So I think that is going to be really cute. So I'm just going to take my pipe cleaner. I took a black one here, and I'm going to twist it. All right, that's it. So that's the first part of the bow. So this makes about, an 8-inch bow. So if it's 8 inches this way, I used about 16, a little bit for the overage. I'd say you'd need about 17 to 18 inches to make this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another little piece here. I'm going to cut down so I can have it. Okay, we're going to cut it down. Let's see, I want 3 blocks. That'll work. All right. And then I'm just going to fold them in like that. I'm going to put it over top. All right, and then this is where you could have some glue. I don't think I have my glue gun on, and that's okay. You could put a little spot of glue right there, but I've got these two ends of my pipe cleaner, so I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna stretch it, then I'm gonna turn it, twist it, I should say. And then I'm just gonna turn this over, and then you got a cute little bow. So let's see, let's finish this off. So I know this is a little upside down, but I'm thinking I want the bow about right there. And what I also thought would be nice is if I used a couple of these leaves from the Dollar Tree. They are just a burlap leaf with a wire that's attached to the back of them. And I just feel like that would be good. You know, you could take any kind of leaf, glue some wire on the back of it, and then that way you can move your leaf the way you want it. So I'm just going to add it over here. I'm going to run it through close to the base of the wreath. And then, okay, there we go. So you just want to put it in, all right? And you could leave it at the one. I'm going to put one more. Okay. And you're just going to wrap it around that frame. All right, so if you're watching, have you watched my collab with this Southern Girl can and a Noble Touch? We did another collab. I have another wreath version with this frame that I will link their videos in the description box below. And I think you should check them out. I think you'd really like them. So I'm going to put this one to this side, and then we're going to call it a day. You could add sunflowers. You could add acorns and so many things, but I'm just going to leave it at this. I kind of like the simple look of a pumpkin, so I'm going to just probably could have used some wire on this because now this seems a little short, and that's okay. We can make it work. All right, so I'm just going to twist that. All right, I think it's super cute. Can you see it? I'll have it on my fence and you'll see a better picture of it. But I think that turned out really super cute. I love the way it turned out. We did use 2 of the 10 yards, so I needed 20 yards total. Sometimes when you buy burlap, like at your local craft store, it only typically has 5 yards roll, so pay attention to that. What you could also do is you could make a backing for this. I'm not going to. I don't really think it needs it. What I will do is make a little loop here. I will just take a zip tie, or this is not a zip tie, Julie, a little pipe cleaner, and I'm just going to make a little hook for it to hang right there. And so that way it'll hang nicely on your door or wherever you'd like. Now remember, when you're using this kind of burlap, it can't get wet. So you don't want to put this out in the elements if it's going to get wet. Okay, so now I have a little hook, and I think that is adorable. Okay, I don't know how well you can see it. I feel like you can't see it because it's like a 3D pumpkin, so I'm going to hold it like that, but I think it's really super cute. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far in the video, please leave me a pumpkin in your comments below. I appreciate your time. I hope this helps inspire you to make something for fall. Remember, if you can't get these at the Dollar Tree, that Hobby Lobby has a version, let me move this out of the way, has a version of this wreath that you could do this to. So all you need is a frame, 20 yards of your favorite burlap. It doesn't even have to be orange. It could be like a natural color. You need some wire, a few zip ties, a little bit of this ribbon, but you don't have to do the same one that I did. Your little bow if you want, some embellishments, and you've got yourself a beautiful wreath. I did get this stuff at the wreath shop. You can check out my link in the description box below. But thank you for joining me today, and I appreciate your time, and we will see you next time in Julie's Wreath Boutique.